it is intravascular hemolysis. Okay. So any defect in the RBC will produce hemolysis. Whether it is an enzyme defect, whether it is a membrane defect, whether it is a hemoglobin defect. Okay. So sometimes the defect may be outside RBC. Okay, that is called extra corpuscular defect. For example, immune hemolytic anemia. Okay, when there is deficiency in the there are many proteins which leads to deficiency leads to hereditary spherocytosis. The most important is PET3. Okay, that leads to hereditary spherocytosis, and penicillin bed space shows lot of spherocytes, and it is a confirmatory test for the hereditary spherocytosis, osmotic fragility test, commonly called as OFT, osmotic fragility test. Okay, and G6PD, glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme deficiency, which increases the free radical and produce oxidant injury. Okay, when the oxidant injury happens, they will denature the hemoglobin, and that will be removed by the spleen. That's why we get bite cells. Okay, and some of them will be actually even if they cannot be stained also. So we use a special stain to find those denatured hemoglobin. That is called Haynes bodies. So Haynes bodies and bite cells, if you see, it is a clue to the G6PD deficiency. Understand? Very, very important. Okay. So sometimes if you take these beans, that will aggravate the symptoms, and they produce consumption of flavonoids leads to sudden hemolysis. Okay. Hemoglobinopathies, and beta chains are located in the chromosome number 11. Alpha chains are located in the chromosome number 16. There are 3 types of hemoglobin, which is very important. At least you should know these 2 types, which is very, very important. That is fetal hemoglobin and adult hemoglobin. Fetal hemoglobin, the chains are alpha and gamma. And adult hemoglobin, the chains are A is alpha, A1 is alpha and beta, and A2 is alpha and delta. You should never forget this. And once again I am telling, fetal hemoglobin is alpha and gamma, and alpha and beta for hemoglobin A1, alpha and delta for hemoglobin A2. So when the child born, okay, up to 6 months, more fetal hemoglobin is seen, and after 6 months, it will be by the adult hemoglobin. Okay. So sickle cell disease is due to defective beta chain, where the glutamic acid is replaced by the valine. Okay. So when they are homozygotes, both the genes are affected, the hemoglobin S is increased. That will be nearly 95% fully of hemoglobin S. Okay, sickle hemoglobin. Okay, so this is very important. If heterozygotes means only one parent is affected, that is like a sickle cell triad or sickle cell minor or anything you can call, but they have only one gene mutation, one gene is normal. So when they have only 50% of the, less than 50% will have hemoglobin S. Understand? So why it is important? It is important for screening. Okay, so if you identify these patients, okay, then you have to tell them, you have to counsel them. Okay, that is called genetic counseling. Okay, so when the RBC is having sickle cell, if they go for deoxygenation, when they give the oxygen, they become sickle. When they take the oxygen, they become normal. So during this process, they becomes irreversibly sickle, then they will go for hemolysis. Okay, and this sickle cell, they cannot come out very easily, so they will occlude the blood vessel, they produce microvascular occlusion. So deoxygenation happens in the venous side, so the occlusion happens in the venous side, capilovenous side. Okay, and they produce ischemia, necrosis, infarction. Okay. So when they keep on producing small infarction, it will lead to fibrosis of the spleen, because all goes to the spleen, and the spleen, in the entire spleen goes for complete fibrosis, and that is called asplenism or autosplenectomy. Okay, if it affects the lung, they produce pulmonary infarct. If they affect the bone, they produce bone infarct. Okay, see, this is the normal spleen. You can see the fibrotic spleen. Okay, so vaso-occlusive, they produce 4 crises. Vaso-occlusive crisis means they are blocking the blood vessel, they produce ischemia, necrosis, and infarction. And sequestration crisis, they all go to the spleen, and the spleen gets enlarged in the beginning. Slowly they go for fibrosis, and they produce asplenia or autosplenectomy. So how to diagnose them? Normally sometimes they have normocytic normochromic or microcytic hypochromic. And reticulocytes increase, and for hemoglobin electrophoresis is very important. Okay, when they have more hemoglobin here, they are called sickle cell anemia. So they are homozygous. Understand? And if they have less than 50% of hemoglobin here, they are called as sickle cell trait. They are heterozygous. So thalassemia is absence of any chain or decrease in any chain. That is called thalassemia. So if it is absence of alpha chain, it is called alpha thalassemia. If it is absence of beta chain, it is called beta thalassemia. Okay. So now coming to the beta thalassemia, they are genetically classified into 3 types, but 2 is very much important for you people to understand. One is beta thalassemia major, one is beta thalassemia minor. Beta thalassemia major is homozygous. Okay, you correct it, I already told in the class, it is heterozygous. Beta thalassemia minor is heterozygous. Okay, beta thalassemia major is homozygous. Homozygous means both the chains are affected. We have 2 chains, both the chains are affected. Understand? Otherwise all the genes are affected. So beta thalassemia minor, they are homozygous, and one is affected, one they have normal. Okay, sorry, heterozygous. Okay, beta thalassemia minor is heterozygous. Okay, so they are heterozygous. Okay, it's wrong. Okay, it's typed wrong. It is heterozygous, and if they are asymptomatic. Okay, beta thalassemia major is a disease. Okay, they are completely severe anemia they have. Okay, they are totally dependent on blood transfusion. See, beta thalassemia, this happens. There is no or decreased beta chains, but they increase the gamma chain. Okay, this is very tricky here. So there is no beta chain or decreased beta chain, but they increase the gamma chain, which means hemoglobin F is increased. Understand? So normally after 6 months, hemoglobin F is very less, 2%. Okay? But in thalassemia, hemoglobin F is very heavily increased. Okay? Hemoglobin A1 is completely reduced because there is decreased beta chain or no beta chain. So that's why you should remember that what chain is there in the hemoglobin. Okay? So when there is hemoglobin F is increased, they are not good hemoglobin. They take the oxygen and they will not deliver it to the tissues. So they have high affinity towards the oxygen. So when they have high affinity towards oxygen, they kidney keep on producing erythropoietin. The marrow is expanded. Okay. So marrow expansion causes lot of abnormality in the face, in the skull, in the bones. So that is called mongoloid phases in thalassemia. Understand? And the complication is they increase the iron overload. So this is the mongoloid phases. The mongoloid phases is due to hyperplasia of the bone marrow. Okay. And
sorry, can you please repeat the part when you said gamma chains increase, right?
Okay. So when there is okay. See, when there is defective oxygen, defective hemoglobin, definitely it causes decreased oxygen. Okay. Then the erythropoietin is secreted by the kidney, and the erythropoietin will come to the bone, and they will keep on pushing the cell to the RBC production. So automatically there is hyperplasia of the bone marrow that will expand the bone marrow. Okay. So this happens why? Because there is less or
hemoglobin,
no beta chain, but there is more increased gamma chain. Understand? So that leads to increased production of hemoglobin F. because hemoglobin F has 2 alpha and
2 gamma.
2
Gamma.
gamma. Understand? 2 alpha and 2 gamma. So automatically hemoglobin F is increased. Hemoglobin F is not a good hemoglobin because it takes the oxygen and it does not give. That means high affinity towards oxygen. So this all happens because of this hemoglobin F. Okay. So if you do a hemoglobin electrophoresis, hemoglobin F is increased. Understand? Hemoglobin A1 is decreased. Okay. So what are the complications? Iron overload is the major complication of the thalassemia. Okay. Beta thalassemia minor, they are usually asymptomatic. They will be normocytic, normochromic. That's why I told in the beginning of the iron deficiency anemia itself, if they are having, for example, 25 years or 30 years or 35 years, female or male coming to a clinic, and the lab report shows normocytic, normochromic, confirm with serum ferritin really what is happening to them. Okay, serum ferritin is increased, then you have to seriously look into the hemoglobin electrophoresis. Understand? So identify them from the carrier, thalassemia minor versus iron deficiency or any other deficiency. Understand? So these are the two things which is very important. Okay. To why beta thalassemia minor is very important. Okay. Alpha thalassemia. Once again, I am telling, if there is no alpha thalassemia, there cannot be hemoglobin itself. Why? Because alpha thalassemia is needed for all the hemoglobin. Okay. And if there is, so there are 2 alpha chains, which means 4 genes we have, and 4 genes, because each alpha chain has 2 genes. So in total they have 4 genes. If all the 4 genes goes for mutation, there is no alpha chain. Okay, that kind of child fetus will die in the embryo itself. Okay, so that is called hemoglobin BOTS. See here, that is called hemoglobin BOTS. If there is 3 gene mutation, that is called hemoglobin H disease. Okay, and if there are 1 gene mutation, this or 2 gene deletion, they can survive. Understand? But they will be as a carrier.
Doctor, again please, last point.
See, we have 4 genes,
Okay.
because I think it's a very basic. You should know that each chain has 2 genes. Okay, 2 alpha chains has 4 genes. If all 4 genes goes for mutation, there is no alpha chain, and they will produce severe form of disease. Okay, they cannot survive. And if even the 3 gene goes for mutation, it looks like that, and they will not survive. Only if there are 2 gene mutation where 2 gene can produce alpha, which means 50% of hemoglobin is produced, so they can survive, and they will be a carrier. Okay, triad carrier.
Yeah, mashallah.
So malaria is produced by the Plasmodium. There are 4 types of Plasmodium, very important: Falciparum, Vivax, Oval, malaria. Okay. And when the mosquito bites, the sporozoites enter. Then they can go to the liver. From the liver, they converted into merozoites, and the merozoites comes out of the liver, and they enter the erythrocyte. They will become ring form and tropozoite and the schizone. Okay, and the schizone has lot of merozoites that comes out of the RBC, and they will go and infect other RBCs. Okay, and some of the ring form converted into gametocyte, and they come out of the RBC, and that will be taken by the mosquito. Okay, so this is very important. Vivax and Oval, some of the sporozoites gets converted into hypnozoites. Okay, and they will hypnozoites stay for a long period of time. Okay, so if the person is having Vivax malaria, they will be treated, and these are outside, that will be cleared, and they will be cleared of malarial disease. But these hypnozoites are there forever, so they will produce a recurrent disease. So which means they are silent diseases there in their body. Understand? Okay, Plasmodium falciparum is one of the very dangerous malaria because they make the RBCs